All right, let's get started. You can see here I've got a nice intelligently shuffled playlist from my prior project that I was working on a few months ago. It's nice and sorted out by artist and spreading them out across the list. So I've got CCR jamming here at the top, and you can see all through the list we've got a nice shuffle. Good stuff. So what's next? I really took and focused my learning efforts for the past few months on object-oriented programming in Python. And I used two courses from Aaron Maxwell, Pythonic OOP or object-oriented programming and scaling Python with generators. I'll mention this again at the end, but if you're very serious about advancing your skills as a Python programmer, I highly recommend Aaron's work. You can start with his book or you can start with some of his courses. Powerful Python is the book. Another book that I was leveraging during my learning was Python GUI Programming with tkinter by Alan Moore. A very good book if you want to learn tkinter and start from the ground up with it, but also being object oriented as you lay out these GUIs in tkinter is just critical, especially as a program gets big. So where I wanted to focus my term project this time was really advancing that intelligent shuffle concept and really looking at intelligent agents as a whole and very specifically a my DJ capability. And so what really drove this requirement for me is as I experience music on Spotify as a platform, I have access to just about any song I can think of. And Spotify does what I term an inside out attempt to curate music for me and make recommendations for me. And by that, I mean they monitor my activities on the Spotify platform. But as somebody who likes music, I actually interact with lots of different platforms and lots of different media for music, including legacy vinyl and legacy CDs. And so, really, in curating what I want to listen and when I want to listen to, I'm forced to do that all myself at this point. And Wolfman Jack, one of the DJs that I used to listen to, he's not available to help me with these things. So the thought around this is, why not try to create an intelligent agent that can help me with this? And obviously, it's not anything too advanced at this stage, but I took a first pass at doing that with this project. So why don't we dive in and take a look at the project? So this is the home screen of the Intelligent Music app. You've got the typical navigation types of buttons for new projects, opening projects. One of the things I'll mention on this screen is there is a settings that you want to set up for this, where you enter in people that are close to you and their events and things that might be important. This is one of the things that helps the intelligent DJ decide what to recommend for you based on the date and based on events. But let's start with some of the more basic things. We had a search capability in the original Intelligent Shuffle. I wanted to build that out a little bit more to be able to look at more of the Spotify platform. So for example, if I'm looking for Led Zeppelin, I can find the Led Zeppelin albums that are out there. You can sort them by the different album names, and you can see actually Spotify offers lots of different editions of, Led Zeppelin. So let's just say I'm going to pick their title album. So I view that, it comes up, and I can add it to my project. I also have the ability to search by album. So if I happen to be looking for an album, let's just say Michael Jackson's Thriller, I can search for Thriller. And you can see it comes up with any album that might have Thriller in the name. So I can sort this out and start to take a look. And here's Michael Jackson right here. I take a look for that, and it'll give me all the songs that are on it. And I can decide, do I want the whole album in here, or do I just want to put a song on there? So I'll put Michael Jackson's Thriller as just a song in the project. I decided I didn't want the album, but in the case I wanted a song, hey, I don't want all of Led Zeppelin 2. I actually do want all of Led Zeppelin 2 on here, but let's just say I want a Whole Lot of Love. I can search for that track, And I can see, oh, there's a couple of Led Zeppelin albums with a whole lot of love on them, Celebration Day and others. And of course, here's Led Zeppelin 2. I'll go to the original recordings of it and take a look. And here's Whole Lot of Love, the first track on there. So again, I could put the whole thing on, or I could just put that song on there. And that's really the search capability in here. Now, my music brings in my music collections from a couple of different places. So first, I've got Discogs, where I have both my collection of vinyl and CDs. So you can see all the different CDs and all the different vinyl items that I have right now. And I can pick songs from any of those. So, you know, if I was, again, thinking in terms of my daughter's mind, she'd say, let's put some Aerosmith on there. So why don't we take a look at this view here? And we've got Toys in the Attic. We'll put that whole album into our project. I also have my want list. You know, so these are vinyl albums that I haven't purchased yet. So let's just say I want Black Sabbath and I want a song from Paranoid on there. So I can take a look and it'll pop this guy up. Oh, look, there's multiple versions of this out there. So I've got others. I can look. I want the original. So let's pick that one. And let's say I just want to take Paranoid and add that to the project. So I add that one to the project. I also have the ability to pull in my Spotify playlists. I've taken the time to curate these playlists. These are probably things that are worth considering when I'm creating a new project. So 1969 theme seems to be an interesting theme since, of course, this is about 50 years from 1969. So I take a look at this and I can see all of the songs and artists that I have in this particular playlist, and I'll add them all. Okay, that's done. A new feature that I added for imports is taking a look at Wikipedia. And so I have from 1963 to 1979, the application will go out and basically import from the Wikipedia page the albums that were released by their release date. So there's 1963 there. In the spirit of 1969, let's stay on 69. And we were listening to some CCR, so why don't we take a look and see if we can find that one out there. Again, multiple copies. 40th anniversary, I guess we're on the 50th anniversary now, so why don't we just stick with the original, add that to the project, and we're good. Now, that was all programming that was added to and enhanced and refactored from the Intelligent Shuffle. A new piece, or the key new piece here, is my DJ. And what my DJ is doing is very simply, I had to go and find lyrics, and this was a challenging part. I had to go find lyrics to songs, and an easy way to get at lyrics for songs so my DJ could make some recommendations based on words and phrases and things like that. I also needed release dates so that my DJ could make recommendations based on the particular date and year. This wasn't as easy as it sounded. I actually ended up having to find over 500,000 song lyrics in a database that I downloaded, I purchased and downloaded on the internet, and then I created a MySQL database. So I'm not actually leveraging, the internet directly to populate the MyDJ. I'm using a local database to do that. But basically, based on the date, it's making a recommendation. So today is Thursday, the 27th. It's a work day. Sigh, it's a work day, and you can see, well, I've got recommendations for workday type stuff coming up here. It's basically looking for work day or work as a search. But I also have some on Thursday because today's Thursday. So that's in this particular lower tree view. In the top one, it's given me a view of the decades. So Andy Williams had a release album from 10 years ago. Don Henley had something 30 years ago, Iron Butterfly. Now you say, Matt, is this pulling from your entire database? The answer is no. Actually, what it's doing is based on my collection of Discog artists, my Spotify playlists artists, it's going into those 500,000 plus songs and only pulling back songs that I've actually expressed an interest in because I've put them in my Discogs collection or I've added them to a Spotify playlist. So these returns would be much, much longer if I was pulling from the entirety of the database. One of the nice things that this will do is if you change the date, woohoo, it's Independence Day. And you can see we've got, Highway to Hell here, our AC/DC album. Let's add that one to the project since it's going to be 40 years old in July. Good grief. And then, we've got some songs that we could pick for Independence Day and others. We've been adding things to our project as I've been going through the demo here. And you can see I've got a number of things in the queue here. If I wanted to and I decided, hey, look, I didn't want a particular Led Zeppelin song. I like You Shook Me, but maybe it's not a song that I want for this one. I still have the capability to delete. And, you can go through the playlist. And if you say, well, I'm not a real big Harry Nilsson fan, I can delete the whole artist for that. Maybe my daughter gets upset about that, but that's fine. Of course, the final steps here are to sort the list and create the playlist in Spotify. So when I take a look to do that, I've got my intelligent shuffle. It'll do the first, last, middle sort to get things as far apart as possible. That one still works great. And I introduced just the typical random sort. You could do that as well. And you could decide you didn't want to sort it. We'll intelligently shuffle this guy just to let it go. And then I'll create a playlist. That looks like a good name for the playlist. So why don't we go ahead and create this? You see we've got that all done. And if I go on back to Spotify and pull it up, you'll see that I've got, I need to do a quick refresh here. And I've got my intelligent music playlist 1.0 based on what we just created. So a nice little application and a nice exercise that I learned quite a bit from. So what exactly did I learn? One of the things with respect to object-oriented programming is it does require a lot of forethought on the design, how you're planning to deploy it, and then the discipline of stepping back if you find yourself starting to get in a complicated or confusing structure and making sure you go back to first principles. One of the points is to really work on code maintainability, and to do that you have to be thoughtful about the design. Data dilemmas, I encountered these constantly, and I'm purposefully going down this path so that I can understand and grapple with these data management issues that many businesses and many individuals are dealing with as they're working on their machine learning projects. I mentioned that finding reliable album release dates and lyrics was one of the challenges that I had to deal with. No artificial intelligence without AI, or IA. No AI without IA, information architecture. So if you think of what that means, if you're not thoughtful about your information architecture and how you're going to bring data into the application that's going to do the learning and that's intended to be intelligent in supporting decision making, then you're really going to struggle with artificial intelligence and machine learning applications. So for me, what's up next? I'm going to be working on machine learning foundations going into the second half of this year. I also want to do some research and experimentation in decision making and how people are making decisions and doing problem solving in certain circumstances. And then, of course, taking this learning and continuing to apply it to this intelligent music concept. My credits and thank yous to conclude: Aaron Maxwell. Again, check it out if you're not familiar with him and you're serious about your Python programming skills. Spotify and the Spotify API. Paul Lemire. I aspire to write code as elegantly as Mr. Lemire does. If you're not familiar with this particular library that was written, it's just so well done. My only call out is I wish there was an easier way to get at release dates in the API, and maybe there is in the API, and I just need to work on the Python libraries for that. A call out really to the Python programmer community in general. The lines of code that I had in here were right around 3,800 lines of code. That doesn't include all the libraries that I leveraged. TK Calendar, Holidays, MySQL Connector are three examples that I pulled into here, and there are lines and lines of code that we can leverage because of the gracious and continued support of this community. So my thanks to them. And last and certainly the greatest of all is my wife. She continues to put up with me as I stress over these thoughts and projects. So thank you to Danny. And thank you to all of you for listening. I hope you are having a great time and getting ready for the summer. And see you next time.